Welcome back. Before the break, we spoke with Walter Mikak, whose children and wife were killed in the Port Arthur massacre. Well, this is a type of weapon that Walter is concerned about. OK, so Bob Catter, you've always backed gun ownership, and your son-in-law wants to import that type of weapon into Australia. What would be the possible reason for a rapid-fire weapon like that?
When you say he wants to import it, there was a legal gun. I mean, there's legislation being passed to stop it. It was a legal gun. Someone wants to buy it. But look, I want to say this. Walter has done a marvellous job in alerting this nation and making this nation conscious of, I can't think in all of my lifetime, a worse incident than that. And I was recuperating in an operation, and it came on the television, and I sat there quite staggered by it. But my reaction was rage and fury. And I could feel it welling up in me. Wasn't there anyone there to protect these poor people? I mean, wasn't there anyone to deal with this evil piece of scum? And I say that because, you know, people make excuses for these people. No, this person was evil. I mean, it was evil, right? Wasn't there anyone to deal with that and to stop it? Now, my rage and fury got even worse as it became obvious that at 13, arguably 20 separate points, this man was clearly available to the police as a raving nutcase and an extremely dangerous one. Was there any effort to take the firearms off him? No. No.
You're not suggesting
were the laws?
self-defence.
No, please, you let me have my say, right? Were the laws there saying that he shouldn't have that weapon? Of course the laws were there, but they weren't enforced. We've got 200 policemen in Queensland. You know, a couple of neighbours in my area, they're 85 years old. They haven't been able to buy a gun case. They're running around chasing them. Are they separating the guns from those people? And Carl, there is a very serious issue here. It's called the Rule and Tarasol's case. A psychologist or a psychiatrist cannot throw these names up. In this case, the name was thrown up, right? And it was ignored. But if you go through each of those, the Hoddle Street massacre, the Wickham Street in Brisbane, Surrey Hills, Port Arthur, every one of them was a raving nutcase. Everyone knew they were raving nutcase and they were dangerous. One of them was actually going to court that week for a violent attack with a knife. And he's sitting there with two pistols. Now, 93% of the deaths that are occurring are from illegal firearms. And, of course, in the case of Port Arthur, it was an illegal firearm.
OK, Mark, how do you
Please,
answer that?
can we enforce it?
Well, Bob, you know, you've really got to reconsider what you're saying. Now, in politics, all of us say
I've
things...
considered it very much.
No, well, all of us say things that are plain stupid. I'm no exception to that.
Yeah,
we
there's
all
nothing
say things,
stupid here.
Well, we all say things that are ill-considered. But for you to be mounting that argument when it's your son-in-law who'd be making the money out of it is just plain wrong.
No.
Plain wrong.
No, you will not deprive me of the right to have my say because I happen to have... I've got a son involved with PHP. What am I not allowed to say anything about mining, am I? I was the strong gun advocate long before I had a son-in-law who was involved with guns, I can assure you of that.
Bob, how could you sleep at night? How could you sleep at night if these rapid-fire weapons got on the street? You say there are lunatics out there. Well, what if we had another Port Arthur and you're doing it so your family can make a few bob? It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. You should wake up to yourself.
If I had my way, Port Arthur would never have occurred. The police would have prosecuted him and taken those weapons off.
The health and the legal system will be never so perfect that you can have that outcome.
Just a second.
I'm going to come back at you,
Really?
I'll wait and
you wait. Hold fire.
I'll come back at you.
Pardon the pun. Then, Angela, let's talk about these guns coming in. Let's talk about whether or not we need to have a gun buyback. I know it's an impassioned argument on both sides. No, I don't think anyone here is saying... Anyone at the table, if you are, put your hand up that we shouldn't have or that farmers don't have the rights to guns. Is anyone saying that?
Well, they've got them now. You know, I live in a street where there are 3 known gun owners. People have got guns now, but they're not the rapid-fire paramilitary weapons that in the hands of lunatics lead to massacres on an horrendous scale. Now, Bob, the reality over the last 20 years is we haven't had another Port Arthur, thank God. Touch wood, whatever your superstition is. We must do everything to stop it ever happening again.
I agree. Bob, what I found really really concerning is when Walter was speaking, you leaned over to Jamila and you asked, what's his name? If you are a voice for the gun lobby, how do you not know who that man is? That makes me as upset as that conversation. How is he not at the forefront of your mind in this conversation? And you've used this argument about
I would
protection.
be deeply embarrassed if I had got his name wrong.
Well, it
I
should
knew
be
it,
at the
but I wasn't
forefront of your
certain,
memory.
and I
He's
wanted
been
to
in
make
the media
sure
for 20
that I had it
years.
certain. This is a man I greatly admire.
All right,
Well,
let's...
remember his name then.
OK, well, let's... Bob,
You know,
Bob, let me
I
ask this.
remember it by writing it down.
Right, Bob.
I'm a lot older than you, and sometimes I do have to write names down.
That's true. He had to write my name down a lot of times. So just a bit in Bob's defence. Bob, in terms of the rapid-fire guns, I know a lot of farmers. I've been out and I've visited your electorate, that huge electorate. Now, I don't know too many farmers though, that would say they need a rapid-fire gun. Why do they need a rapid-fire gun?
I represent the most endangered species in Australia, Julia Creek Dunnock. He's a cute little fellow. He looks like a kangaroo, right? He's endangered from prickly tree, and I won't talk about that. He's endangered by feral cats and by feral pigs. People that are doing this job for the government, God bless them, they took out 800 pigs before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 of them, in a helicopter. Now, they're devastating the landscape of this country. Now, let me say, in fairness to Walter's argument and fairness to Mark's argument, right, that if that fellow had not had, I mean, you're comparing a shotgun to what we're talking about at Port Arthur. I mean, that was a lethal weapon. That is,
I think they're all lethal.
You know, a very, very serious weapon.
Why do we, why do we need rapid fire?
I take Mark's point, and I take the point that's a very valid comment, you know, about that, right? But look, when that occurred, remember that I've always been a great gun advocate. When I was a little kid of 9, my daddy and mummy went to Bix Theatre.
Yeah.
I was left at home. You look after your little brother, right? We had a prowler. He came into our house. I couldn't get to the telephone. He was between myself and the telephone. I had my air rifle there. I'm only 9 years of age, and he didn't know his air rifle what he was. But I protected my little brother.
No one's saying, no one here is saying that people on the land can't have guns.
No.
What they're saying is there any point, why should we have a rapid-fire weapon, a weapon that can fire 8 rounds in 8 seconds? What's the possible,
and
what
can we
possible
talk about
reason?
this gun in particular for a moment?
Let's do it, Jamila, you're right.
Because this gun has been, my understanding from Walter just chatting before the show, is that this gun's primary reason for production was to get around Australia's gun laws. It doesn't, the reason it could get through under the current laws is it doesn't have a pump action. It's got that lever thing that allows it to shoot 8 bullets in 8 seconds. It was designed to get around our gun laws. Like, to me, that goes against everything we're supposed to be standing for here and saying that kind of weapon is dangerous. You've come up with a new mechanism to say that it's okay. It will kill just as many people.
Well,
and look, Bob, you must concede.
I am told by people that they already own weapons of this type. I mean, they're legal weapons. If the government decides that they're not illegal, well, that's a different story. Now, look, please, for 9 days into that, after Port Arthur, you know, one of the strongest gun advocates, I said nothing 2 weeks, right? Because I wanted to know whether we had an intellectual argument here, whether we were right or whether we were wrong. And the figures for Queensland, we had no gun laws at all in Queensland in 1988. The last year of Jock Peterson, before he stabbed him back, we had no gun laws at all, except for concealable firearms. So no gun laws at all. We had 8 deaths with guns. 8, right? Now, New South Wales, with twice our population, should have had 16. They didn't have 16, they didn't have 26, they didn't have 36, they had 38. Victoria, with draconian gun laws, if we had 8, they should have had 12. They didn't have 12, they didn't have 24, they didn't have 36, they didn't have 48. They had 54 deaths with guns. I mean, did the number of deaths go down after the gun ban? No, it went up. It went up. The average for 3 years afterwards was higher than the average 3 years before.
But the number of massacres, the number of gun massacres rather than individual deaths went down because it's gone to 0 in 20 years.
I've said it. It was going down all the time. And in fact, the decline is less after that than before. But I don't want to get too technical here. Let me just take...
Bob, we're almost out of time.
There's one other point I have to make.
Last point.
America is used all the time, right? Well, that's very facile. If you actually pick out the states where the gun deaths come from, I've got them here. The highest by far and away in the United States is Washington, D.C. Because Obama's not going politically to do the job for the whole of the country. So what they do is they do it in Washington. So it's the highest death rate with guns, 11. The lowest death rate with guns is in North Dakota. No, please let me finish. You don't like to
we had a long go.
North Dakota and South Dakota.
I haven't had a go at all.
Well,
Bob.
are we allowed to... North Dakota and South Dakota have
We
the
don't want to
lowest
become
death
America.
rate with guns, have the lowest death rate with guns. They have the biggest firearms shop in the world.
There has to be a genuine reason.
The lowest restrictions.
Got the point. Sandy, just before we go.
There's two things that I respond to that. First of all, there has to be a genuine reason for this lever-action rapid-fire shotgun. Secondly, was it Jack Wegman from the Sporting Association said, with a bolt-action gun, if you're an experienced hunter, an experienced gunman, you can pump as many as that with a normal bolt-action. Why do we now need to introduce the Adler 110?
Look, I think that's a point.
I mean, look, you may well be making valid points here. I'm not arguing on those
we can't hear from you anymore.
But we are.
We will, though, because you're in Parliament.
We are the envy.
Campbell, your last point.
We're the envy of the Western world because of our gun control. America, they all want to be like us. Guns, all they bring is misery and no joy whatsoever. I'll tell you what, Bob.
Oh, come on, mate.
I'll tell you what.
Fishing, camping, hunting, shooting.
The only gun...
What are we going to be allowed to do in this country?
The only gun I'll condone...
How about those two little girls not being allowed to grow up, Bob?
You go see the movie The Castle.
The only guns I'll condone are in the hands of a firing squad, and we can get every paedophile in this country and throw Martin Bryan in it, and you can go for your life. And then I'll vote for you.
I'm not giving the government the right to defend my home.
Turn in the Wild West.
I won't trust the government to defend my home.
All right, Bob. I'm going to steal your hat.
I'll do that.
Bob, I'm going to steal your hat. I know how much that means to you. Righto. It's a big debate. And everyone's got their say on it, and everyone's worth listening to. So you can have your say about all that too. In just a few minutes, our panellists will deliver their final verdict.